So today I'm going to go over the warm-up first. So if you guys didn't do the warm-up, then go ahead and do it, and then we'll go over it. Pause me and then come back to me, okay? So on this warm-up, there's a couple ways we could do this. We could use binomial expansion for this term, or we could just multiply by itself with the box method. So I'm going to show you both. So first of all, we've got x squared minus 3 and x squared minus 3 here, x to the fourth. And that's negative 3x squared, and then that's going to be negative 3x squared as well, and that's going to be a positive 9. So when we combine these two terms here, we're going to end up with x to the fourth minus 6x squared. We could do the 1, 2, 1, right? And we could do the x squared here. And then we could do the negative 3 here. And then again, we're going to go 2, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0. So when we simplify this, this is going to be 1. And remember, we're multiplying right here, guys. 2 times 2, okay? So this is going to be times x to the fourth. And then 1 again, because anything to the 0 power is 1. 2, and then we got x squared, and then times a negative 3. And then here we have 1, again, anything to the 0 power is 1, and then this is going to be negative 3 to the second. Okay, so if we go ahead and simplify this down here, we're going to get x to the fourth. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, x squared, and then negative 3 squared is 9. So either way, we get the same answer. Now, if we look at number 2 for the expansion, this, okay, let's look at our binomial, or our Pascal's triangle. Okay, do you remember this? So sometimes you're going to have to build it like this to get your numbers. Now remember, we're using the row I just built because, again, this is a third power, so we're looking at that second number. So we're going to write 1, 3, 3, 1 down here. Going to put our first term in parentheses, and then we're going to put our second term in parentheses. Now this time, we're going to do it in descending order in 3, 2, 1, 0, and then 3, 2, 1, 0, like that. Remember, those exponents should add up to be 3. So this is going to be 1 times x to the third times 1. So this is going to be x to the third. This is going to be equal to 3 times x squared times 3. So that's going to be 9x squared. This is going to be 3 times x times 3 squared, which is 9, and 3 times 9 is 27, so this is going to be 27x. And then this last term is going to be 1 times 3 to the third. 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 is 27. So that's going to be 27. So our final answer is going to be x to the third plus 9x squared plus 27x plus 27. So do y'all see that answer anywhere? Yep, it was D. Oh, and by the way, I never chose the answer over there for the other one, so that one's going to be C. Right? Okay. So now, let's go into our lesson for the day. So we're going to do division today. It's called long division with polynomials. So the first thing I want to do is review long division. So when we do long division, we put this number under here, right? And then we put that number there. Do you remember this? Okay, so we're going to ask how many times does 7 go into 15? Twice, right? Then we're going to put that down here. Remember, we're subtracting that, okay? So we'll have 1 left over. We're going to bring down the 1, so that's 11. How many times does 7 go into 11? 1 time, right? So we have, again, subtraction, so we got 4 left over. And we're going to bring down the 6. How many times does 7 go into 46? Yep, 6 times. That's 42. Again, subtracting, so we have 4 left over and bringing down the 1. So that's going to be 5, right? 35. And we have, what, 6 left over? So remember, what we do with the remainder is we put it over the divisor. So 6 over 7, right? So now with number 2, what we're going to do is split this up. So we're going to do 6x divided by 3. And then we're going to do 15y divided by 3. So when we do that, we get 2x here, right? And we get negative 5y there. So hopefully this refreshes your memory. This was our review, okay? So now we're actually going to do this. So polynomial long division is a method for dividing a polynomial by another polynomial of lower degree. And it's very similar to dividing numbers. So if you remember, the divisor is the number that we're dividing by, and the dividend is what we're dividing into. So if this was written, it would be written 277 divided by 12, right? And the process is here the same. So we're going to multiply 2 times 12, that gives us our 24 right here. We're going to subtract that, and 7 minus 3, or 7 minus 4 is 3. And then we're going to bring down. Remember, we're going to bring this down, okay? And then again, how many times does 12 go into 37? It goes in 3 times, right? So we're going to multiply 3 times 12. That's where we get this 36. We're going to subtract it again. And when we have a remainder, once again, remember, if we were to write this with our remainder, it would be 1 over 12, okay? Same thing when we do polynomial long division. So this time, the only difference is we're going to look at this and this, okay? So we want to know, what do we have to multiply by our x here to get 2x squared? So notice we have to multiply by 2x. So not only do I have to multiply the x by 2x, but I also have to multiply this 2 by 2x, okay? So when I multiply both of these, when I multiply 2x times x plus 2, I'm going to get 2x squared plus 4x, right? That's where this term right here came from, okay? So let's keep going. So again, what do we do with that term? We subtract it, right? So that means we're going to subtract that too, yes? So when we do that, we got 7x minus 4x. That gives us 3x. And again, we bring down our next number, okay? So when we do that, then we're trying to ask ourselves again, what do we have to multiply by this x to get that 3x, okay? So we have to multiply it by that 3 right there, right? So 3 again times x plus 2 is this, 3x plus 6, right? So remember again, we're going to subtract that term, okay? We're going to subtract it. So when we subtract all of this, it's going to make that a minus, right? So then 7 minus 6 is 1. So once again, we could put that over like this. We would say plus 1 over x plus 2. And that's how we would write our remainder, okay? So now we're going to do a problem together, okay? So we're going to divide the 2x to the third minus 4x squared minus 8x by 2x. So once again, we have to ask ourselves the question, what do we have to multiply by 2x to get 2x to the third? Hopefully you can see we got to multiply it by x to the second. So when I multiply 2x by x to the second, I get 2x to the third. Remember, we're going to subtract that, right? So that gives me 0. Then we're going to bring down our next term. So that's going to give us minus 4x squared. So again, we want to ask ourselves the question, what do we have to multiply by 2x here to get negative 4x squared? So we're going to multiply it by negative 2x, right? So when I multiply this, I get negative 4x squared. Recalling again that we're going to subtract it, so that means we're actually going to add it, right? Because when we subtract the negative, we get a positive. So we get 0 here again, going to bring down our next term again. So that's going to be plus, actually in this case, minus our 8x. So I'm going to do that in black, minus 8x, okay? So again, what do we have to multiply by 2x to get negative 8x? We have to multiply it by negative 4, right? So then we get our negative 8x. Now this time, guess what? We got nothing. So there's no remainder, okay? Now the way we can check this, guys, is we can multiply that x squared minus 2x minus 4. So we can do this, x squared minus 2x minus 4 times what? The 2x. And when we do that, when we do this, the distributive property, right? So that's going to be 2x to the third minus 4x squared minus 8x. And that was our original term. So do y'all see those match? That's how we can check our answers, okay? So again, let's try this one. So once again, we're going to put the 9x to the third minus 18x squared. We're going to, oops, that's supposed to be a squared right there, y'all. So that should be a squared right there. Sorry, that's what it is on y'all's paper. So this should be 3x squared, right? So what do I have to multiply by 3x squared to get 9x to the third? So I have to multiply it by 3x, right? So when I do that, again, I get 9x to the third. Remember, we're going to subtract that, right? So now we get 0 here. We're going to bring down our next term. So this is going to be minus 18x squared. What do I have to multiply by 3x squared to get negative 18x squared? Negative 6, right? So that gives me negative 18x squared. Again, remember, we're going to subtract it, so we're going to change the sign so we get a remainder of 0 again. So once again, if we want to if we want to check this, we can do 3x squared times 3x minus 6. 3x squared times 3x is 9x to the third, and that's going to be minus 18x squared, right? And that's what we had there. All right, so the next one again, I'm going to put it under here. So 2x squared plus 10x plus 8. This time we're dividing by 2x plus 2. So what do we have to multiply by 2x? Only the first term are we interested in here, y'all. What do we have to multiply by 2x to get 2x squared? Yep, an x. So when we do that, we get 2x squared. Now remember, we're going to multiply that x by the 2 as well. So x times 2 is 2x, right? Now recall, we are subtracting both of these terms, y'all. So this becomes a subtraction sign, okay? So this term goes away, right? So we're left with what? 8x plus 8. So now, what do we have to multiply by 2x again over here to get 8x right there? 4, right? So we're going to say plus 4. So that's going to give me 8x, and when I multiply 4 times 2, we also get 8. Remembering again, what are we doing to this whole term, y'all? Yes, we're subtracting it. So that's going to become a minus again, okay? This term right here is going to become a minus, guys, okay? So both terms cancel each other out, so we're left with a remainder of 0. Once again, if we want to check it, we got 2x plus 2 times what? We're going to do it like this with our box method just to check it real quick. So this is going to be 2x squared. That's 2x. That's 8x, and that's 8. Here's our like terms, so we get 2x squared plus 10x plus 8. Oh, let's go back. Does it check? Yes, it does. Okay. All right, so here's our next one. This is the you try. I'd like you guys to go ahead and try this one. And so once again, we've got 6x to the third. Now, this time, did you guys notice that we're missing a term? Correction. This should be a second, y'all. That's what it is in y'all's notes. I don't know what I did there. So that should be a second. So let's just go ahead and put the second here. Minus 7x minus 5. So again, we're going to divide that by 3x minus 5, okay? So what do we have to multiply by 3x to get 6x squared? A 2x. So this is going to be, sorry about that, 6x squared, right? 6x squared. Now we're going to multiply that 2x times that negative 5. That's going to give us negative 10x. Again, remembering, we are subtracting all of this, y'all. So that makes that minus and that plus, right? So the first term goes away, but we get 3x here, and we bring down our negative 5. So notice this is the same term we have right there, y'all. Do y'all notice that? This is the whole same term, so that's going to be plus 1. So this is 3x minus 5. Recalling again that we're subtracting this whole term, right? So we're left with the remainder. So again, if we want to check this, we're going to go 3x and a minus 5 times 2x and a 1, right? So this is 6x squared minus 10x plus 3x and minus 5. So we get 6x squared, negative 10 and 3x, right? So that's going to be negative 7x and minus 5. So yep, checks out, right? Okay. So here's our last example. So I'm going to write it here, 2x to the fourth plus 2x to the third. Okay, and we're dividing that by, not sure why that's doing that, y'all. Our x plus 1, right? Okay, so what do we have to multiply by x to get 2x to the fourth? Don't we have to multiply it by 2x to the third? So we're going to get 2x to the fourth when we do that. Now we're multiplying 2x to the third times 1, right? So that's plus 2x to the third. So once again, what are we doing with this term? We're subtracting it. So that makes that a minus as well, right? So notice both of those terms go away, right? So now we're going to go plus, and we're going to bring down two terms, y'all. We're going to go ahead and bring down two terms. So x squared minus x, okay? So now what do we have to multiply by this x over here to get x squared? Just plus an x, right? So then we're going to subtract that, right? So we're going to do x squared minus, plus x, right? So x squared plus x. So now remember, what are we doing with this whole term? Yes, we're subtracting it. So that means this becomes a minus right there, y'all. That becomes a minus, so that's what I'm going to make it. So this term actually goes away, but look what happens here. We got a negative 2x. Now we're going to bring down our minus 1. So what do we have to multiply by x to get negative 2x? Yep, a minus 2. So when I do that, I get negative 2x minus 2. Again, we're calling that I got to multiply this 2 by both terms here, okay? So let's go ahead and change the signs here. So this can be plus and plus because we're subtracting it, right? So now this time that goes away, but we're left with 1. Now, x doesn't go into 1, does it? So this is our remainder. Now, what we do with our remainder is we say plus, and we do 1 over what we divided by, our divisor. So that's x plus 1. So this is the way we write this answer, okay, guys? All right, now I want you guys to go ahead and do the you try. Come back to me when you're done. So here we go. We're going to go x to the third here, minus 3x squared, minus 6x plus 8. And we're going to divide that by x plus 3. What do we have to multiply by x to get this x to the third? And x squared. So we got x squared plus 3x squared, right? So remember again, we're going to subtract all this stuff. So that's a minus. And this becomes a minus. Do y'all notice that? So when that becomes a minus, this is going to end up being minus 6x squared. We're going to bring down this negative 6x. So what do I have to multiply by this x to get negative 6x squared? Minus 6x, right? So that's going to give me minus 6x squared. And what is 3 times negative 6x? Negative 18x, yes? So, okay, now what we're going to do, again, remember, is we're subtracting all this stuff. So we're going to change these signs. So that's going to give us negative 6 plus 18, y'all, is what? Isn't that 12? So that's going to be 12x, and I'm going to bring down that 8 again. So that's plus 8. So what do I have to multiply by this x to get 12x? Plus 12, right? So that's going to give me 12x, and then I got 12 times 3, which is plus 36. Recalling again that we're going to subtract that whole term. So that becomes a minus, and this becomes a minus. So 8 minus 36 is, what is that, negative 28. Oh, and you know what? I never checked the other one, but I'm going to show you guys how to check this one, okay? So again, I'm going to do my x squared, and remember, this is our remainder, so this is going to be minus 28 over x plus 3, right? Okay, so this is how we're going to check this. We got a negative 6x here, we got a 12, and then we got our x and our 3 here, okay? So we're going to go ahead and multiply this so that we can see. So this is going to be x to the third minus 6x squared plus 12x, right? This is going to be 3x squared. That's going to be minus 18x, and that's going to be 36, okay? So we're looking at, don't forget, we got to look at our like terms here. So here and here we have like terms, right? And here. So we're going to combine those. So we get x to the third minus 3x squared. What in the world was that? Minus 3x squared. And then negative 18 plus 12 is minus 6x, right? And then we got plus 36. But what was our remainder? Y'all remember down here what our remainder was? So if we subtract that 28, then we get what our original answer was, right? So again, we're looking at x to the third minus 3x squared minus 6x plus what, y'all? 8. You got it. So this does check out, okay? So let's go back to the previous one just so we can check it so you guys can see me do it again, okay? So here we go again. This is going to be 2x to the third, x, and minus 2, right? And then we're going to multiply that by x and 1. So this is going to be 2x to the fourth. This is going to be x squared. This is going to be minus 2x. This is going to be 2x to the third. That's just going to be an x, and this is going to be minus 2. So don't have as many like terms here, so we have 2x to the fourth plus 2x to the third plus x squared. We got some like terms right here. Y'all see that? That's where our minus x is. And then we got this minus 2 here, but remember, we had a plus 1 down here, didn't we? So if we add that 1, that's how we get to our final answer, 2x to the fourth plus 2x to the third plus x squared minus x minus 1. So now it does look like that, doesn't it?